Announcing the commencement of the first purge.
I want you to change the world, and don't think that this is going to happen peacefully or you can do it alone. We need to kill the rich. You get out there, you use your weapons, and you rip Washington apart. You hunt down the billionaires, the bank bosses, the CEOs, the scumbags and the liars, the governors, the lobbyists, the senators, because they're all the same, and you hang them.
Just remember all the good the purge does.
Good morning, everyone. It's July 24th, 2018. I'm Eric. The good guys are not coming to save us. This comes from beforeitsnews.com. I'll leave a link in the description box. It's by Paul Rosenberg. A lot of Americans know that the U.S. government is out of control. Anyone who has cared enough to study the U.S. Constitution even a little knows this. Still, very few of these people are taking any significant action, and largely because of one error. They are waiting for the good guys to show up and fix things. Some think that certain groups of politicians will pull together and fix things, or that one magnificent politician will ride in to fix things. Other thinks that certain members of the military will step in and slap the politicians back into line. And I'm sure there are other variations. There are several problems with this, and I'll start with the small issues. It doesn't happen. A lot of good people have latched onto one grand possibility after another, waiting for a good guy to save the day, and it just doesn't happen. Thousands of hours of reading, writing, and waiting are burned with each new great light who comes along with a promise to run the system in the right way and give us liberty and truth. Lots of deceit, folks. Grab on to one pleasant dream after another. I said lots of decent folks grab onto one pleasant dream after another, only to end up right back where they started, but poorer in time, energy, and finances. Hope is a scam. It's a dream of someday, somehow, getting something for nothing. People who hope do not act. They wait for other people to act. Hope is a tool to nurture a natural opposition. They sit in hope and never act against you. Even the biblical meaning of hope is something more like expectation, or sometimes waiting, than the modern use of hope. Petitioning an abuser for compassion. The good guys are considered to be a few people inside the abusive government. But if the good guys were really good guys, wouldn't they have disassociated themselves with an abuser some time ago? By pleading for the good guys to rise up, people are asking one subgroup of the abusers to save them from the rest of the abusers. However, they all work for the same operation. They all get paid out of the same offices according to the same rule book, and if the good guys are so willing to turn against their employers, why would they have waited until now? Movies. We all grew up in the company of movie heroes who rode in at the last minute to save the noble victims. From John Wayne to Star Trek to Bruce Willis, The storyline differs little. These are pleasant stories, of course, but cinema is not reality, and hoping for it to become reality is something that we shouldn't get, or is something that we should get over prior to adulthood. But as I say, those are the smaller issues. Let's move on to the serious ones. The magic system. A lot of Americans believe that the American founders created a system that automatically fixes itself. They talk about balance of powers and think that it will always save them from a tyrant. The balanced powers of the U.S. Constitution, however, were trashed within 15 years and undoubtedly trashed just a century ago. In the Constitution, the state's balance of power of the national government, the one now in Washington, D.C., not only did the states control half the legislature, but they decided if and how they would implement the edicts of the national government. And that included deciding whether a law was constitutional or not. This changed in 1803 with Marbury versus Madison ruling. This ruling taught as a work of genius in American schools, was a fraud against the U.S. Constitution. In it, the Supreme Court held that they understood the Constitution better than James Madison, the man who wrote it. But worse than even this, they held with absolutely no basis that it was they who would decide what was constitutional or not. The states were tossed aside. Even the sitting President of the United States, Thomas Jefferson, called it a very dangerous doctrine indeed, and one which would place us under the despotism of an oligarchy. Marbury's judicial review, the Supreme's ruling on constitutionality, merely involves one branch of the national government providing a check on the other branches of the national government. After Marbury's, no one could check the national government. Washington, D.C. was unleashed with Marbury versus Madison. What made it almighty was the 17th Amendment of 1913, which took the powers of the state and transferred them to Washington by mandating the popular election of senators. With senators being elected directly by the populace, the states were cut out of the equation. In their place, political parties gained massive power, and nearly all power was consolidated in the city of Washington. And so it is today. Washington is an unfettered beast. The system will not fix itself. The mechanisms to do that were long lost. The easy way out. And most people, they like taking the easy way. Rarely in my life have I seen taking the easy route being better. Every time I've taken the easy route, it has ended in tragedy. So, there's no easy way out. Standing up against a beast like Washington is scary, to be sure. Understandably, not many people want to do such a thing. But if the beast is abusing you, what other choice do you have? You can certainly avoid or evade the beast, but we all know that the beast hurts people it catches avoiding it. So the risks of doing this isn't zero either. So what's a person to do? They hate their abuse, but outright disobedience would be scary. Unfortunately, many people have come up with a third option. Get someone else to do it for you. Lots of writers have done this. For example, write flamboyantly about the abuses people face and stir them to rise up against the power. Fairly seldom does the writer take big risks himself. He just stirs up others to do the scary stuff. Something very similar happens to basically moral people who don't want to risk pain and suffering. They imagine good guys riding in to save them. But as I say, these are generally decent people, and they are willing to take smaller risks to help the good guys. They will spend time and money promoting them. They will even accept name-calling in many cases. They just don't want to become full-blown rebels and outcasts. The result of this is predictable. Abuse by the political class, or abuse by the political class. If the politicians show them a viable possibility every election cycle, they'll keep voting their way forever, and the hero never really has to show up. The sad truth, let's just say it, no one is going to ride in and save you. If you want things to get better, then you will have to make them better. You will have to stand up and take the arrows yourself. Liberty at this stage of human development requires risk and pain. I trust that you will remember the end of Jesus' famous Sermon on the Mount, that it is not those who call upon his name who will be saved, but only those who do the things he said. Likewise, in this situation, our only hope of salvation lies in doing. And I refer you to the intro of this video. Doing. Good guys are not going to save you. As I said in my video the other day, there are no heroes and very few good guys. If you want to save, or you want to be saved, you're going to have to save yourself. You want change, you're going to have to push for it. Nobody else is going to do it. Till next time, kill the state before the state kills you.